Every 10 years following the U.S. Census, states redraw their political boundaries in a process called redistricting. It's a fundamental part of our democracy designed to ensure equal representation. But right now, in Texas, this process has ignited a political firestorm. The fight over the state's new political maps has reached a whole new level, with accusations of partisan gerrymandering flying. The flashpoint came on August 20th. After weeks of contentious debate, the Republican-controlled Texas House passed a new set of congressional maps. These maps are a direct response to the state's massive population boom over the last decade, growth that earned Texas 2 brand new seats in the U.S. House. However, critics argue the maps don't reflect the diversity of that growth. Instead, projections show the newly drawn districts are strategically crafted to heavily favor one party. By concentrating Democratic voters into fewer districts and spreading Republican voters across many others, these maps could solidify existing GOP seats and potentially hand Republicans up to 5 more U.S. House seats. While this may seem like another round of intense political drama, its shockwaves extend far beyond the state line. In a narrowly divided U.S. House of Representatives, a shift of just a few seats can determine which party holds the majority. The outcome in Texas could be a decisive factor in the upcoming midterm elections, directly influencing the balance of power in Washington, D.C. for years to come. This has national consequences. This isn't business as usual. Texas is doing a rare mid-decade redistricting. The Senate already signed off earlier in August. Most Democrats walked out in protest, calling it corrupt. So yeah, the atmosphere is tense. Now, the maps passed by the legislature are heading to Governor Greg Abbott's desk, the final step in the state's political process. He's expected to sign. Since the maps were drawn by his own Republican Party, which controls the legislature, his approval is widely seen as a formality. A veto is considered highly unlikely. Once signed, the new districts become law, for now. This isn't just symbolic. It sets the political landscape for the next decade and allows election officials to begin updating voter rolls and preparing for the next election. But the story doesn't end with a signature. That's often just the starting gun for the next phase of the fight. Legal challenges are already lined up, prepared by a coalition of civil rights organizations and voting rights advocates. Their core claim is that the maps are discriminatory, intentionally diluting the voting power of the state's rapidly growing minority communities. These groups accounted for 95% of Texas's population boom, but were not granted additional political representation. This is a familiar fight. Texas has a long history of litigation over maps, a recurring battle that has played out for over half a century. In fact, federal courts have found that Texas violated the Voting Rights Act with at least one map every decade since the 1960s. This history of discrimination will be central to the new legal arguments. So, while the legislature's work is done, the final shape of these districts will likely be decided by a judge, with consequences for the balance of power in both Austin and Washington, D.C. Expect this to land back in court. Meanwhile, Democrats are trying to fight back. They walked out for 2 weeks to stall and rally blue states. California is considering its own redistricting moves, backed by former President Obama, backed by Governor Newsom. The battle lines are being drawn across the country. This push was orchestrated by Trump's political team as a key part of their national strategy. They see Texas as the primary battleground to build a legislative firewall, aiming to protect a potential second presidential term from congressional opposition. The plan? Flip 5 Texas seats to the GOP. These targeted districts, mainly in diversifying suburbs in the Rio Grande Valley, have been trending Democratic. The new maps counteract that by carving up Democratic-leaning communities and merging them with staunchly Republican areas. The goal is to help Republicans hold the House in 2026. Historically, a president's party loses seats in the midterms. This Texas maneuver is a preemptive strike, creating a crucial buffer to defy that historical trend and maintain legislative control through a potential second term. If Democrats win back the House, it could severely limit Trump's power. A Democratic-controlled House could block his agenda, launch investigations, and control the federal budget, creating a powerful wall of opposition that could define the final 2 years of his term. What's next? Abbott's signature is likely days away. Then the lawsuits start flying. Civil rights groups will argue the new maps constitute illegal racial gerrymandering, diluting minority voting power in violation of the Voting Rights Act. The legal battle could reach the Supreme Court. This will likely trigger a domino effect. Blue states like California may redraw maps in response. Facing pressure not to be outmaneuvered, states like New York could also engage in aggressive gerrymandering to claw back seats for Democrats, escalating the political polarization. Bottom line, this isn't just about Texas. It's a high-stakes chess match shaping Washington for years to come. A fundamental battle over representation and power, with consequences that will influence policy and the direction of the country for the next decade. Stay tuned.